So here's our picture. This is how happy we are to get ready to on our way in Columbus that day.
Has to be, that's too small a plane to be.
Oh, yeah.
And then there we are arriving the next night. 10 o'clock at night, they picked us up at the airport.
It's really get the juice.
Marigolds are the filet from India. We arrived in Dallas.
Do you have international travel tips to share about how you endure that kind of flight?
I sleep.
Well, everybody would like to. I mean, that's
Yeah,
important.
I don't sleep well on airplanes at all.
What do I mean about it? I don't even.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't sleep on airplanes, but I did on the way back because it was like half full and let's lie down. I actually slept in the plane. It does happen, but not very often. I watch movies and stuff like that. Just I guess.
That's the first. That's the first thing. And then day one, our official day one, we started at in New Delhi, which we understood was much larger. It's like more than 1 million people in, which is kind of hard to believe. It was also a Sunday, which was interesting because people who work have really only Sunday off, and so it was all in the different places that we were. It's just the concept of so many people in such compressed space. It was a little overwhelming. And we also, in a couple, we don't have a picture of this, but we did some roundabouts, and there was people in the middle of the roundabout. Thought is they want to get away and not touch. So go anywhere you can, be either outside or in a place where we don't have pictures. So it's just fascinating. So the first place that we went was where Gandhi was assassinated. And this is just the gate outside of that. And another really beautiful statue. And this was the home of a friend of his. He was staying at towards the last 90 days or so of his life. And our guide for the entire tour is a man who lives in India, has never traveled to the United States. So we talked to him quite a bit about coming to the United States. He's like, not yet.
Yeah.
But he also said that at this time when Gandhi was assassinated, it was not a shock to people who lived in India. It was not a surprise at all. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, they've killed a peacemaker. You know, almost this other idea of like they killed Jesus. I can't believe this happened. He was not well liked towards the end. He was expecting it. And he might have been expecting it as well.
Because there were things that said, if I'm still here next whatever, he didn't expect to live.
Some of that had to do with the perception, and maybe it was true, the perception that he was choosing sides. There were several, I don't know, wars, conflicts that had to do with Palestinians, Muslims, and he chose another side. He did not support the massacre of the Muslims. And so it was not unusual. But again, until you go to another place, you don't always hear their, you hear what it's all about. So this was a beautiful home where he was staying, and they've now turned it from a residence to a museum. And very privileged show. And this area is where he used to, in the evenings, at about 5 o'clock every day, we were told like a community prayer or community time to come together. And it was very kind of unstructured. And if you look all the way to the very corner of that, you'll see that right there. That's where the big steps in kind of old space with anyone from the community that come in. It was not gated. People just came in from wherever. And he was running late that day because he was meeting with a political advisor. And so he came out hurriedly to get to the community time. And what ended up happening was he was assassinated in some space. But what the museum did was they put, I guess, they followed his footsteps all the way to where he was assassinated. And we'll see them coming out of the door, walking along the path, almost to the point where you don't want to step on them, you just want to see them and kind of walk to the side. Up a little, up the stairs to the place where he was actually assassinated. They've now built this space. And it had the date and what happened right there in the middle of the park.
What was the reason for the assassination?
That he was taking sides,
Oh,
not supporting the conflict that was happening when many thousands of Muslims were assassinated, were brutally murdered by the Hindus, by the Taliban. Yeah. In addition to where the space was in the home, there's also this other kind of museum here. Oops.
I think we're done with the day.
We're definitely not done with it. After that, we went to the
India Gate.
India Gate, which was to celebrate the
The Indian soldiers who were killed in World War One and the Third Anglo and Afghan conflict.
So India was still under British rule, and so they sent to.
So this is because they died in Britain's wars, not the.
Oops. So in the book, which can be end of the day. There's still quite a few people here, again, from Sunday. We also came, we were also there right after Diwali. And before, it was like wedding season, and so lots and lots of couples were there taking their engagement pictures. Big and flowery, we'll talk about weddings.
Oh my, yeah, I have pictures of those. Look,
So exciting. And then we stopped. The whole group stopped, but I was just super excited. We stopped at a German microbrewery. The first one in Delhi. Well, so I was so much. We had about 25 people on the tour, and they were at least 10 of them, half of them were from California, and they were fixated, obsessed with them. Obsessed. Ooh, look at a picture of a monkey. Let's take a picture.
well, they are our ancestors.
They are everywhere in the little communities, and so several people would get bags of peanuts. They had to like, eat them on. They'll let you feed them in the zoo, but on the street they don't feed them. So we have lots of pictures of these. And then in the afternoon, we got on
bicycle rickshaws.
yes. And this was the person we were. He was maybe in his early 60s. Oh my gosh, he looked so funny. Because as we were going, there's I think 5 or 6 of these rickshaws. We're going through towards a market. They wanted to show us the different area of the market. And it looks like you have lots of space. And then eventually, you're just on top of each other. And as I said, it's wedding season, so everyone's putting out their finest and expensive clothing for people to purchase. And you're all like, you're just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I want to stop there too, because something that I just remembered from the last time I told friends about this. I was expecting to go to India and be overwhelmed with the poverty, with the humanity, with just the population of people. And the guy that we had said, don't worry about the chaos. The rickshaw, the rickshaw driver knows what he's doing. I just let him do it. And the beeping of the horns and the croaking and the yelling was like, it's not chaos. They're just telling me this is how they're communicating. They're just communicating with each other. Don't worry about it. And had he not said that, I would have had a different story, because I left the United States in the state of toxicity. And yet I went to a place that's a little overwhelming and went, oh, that's how they talk to each other. Okay. The end of that first day, we stopped at a Muslim temple. Mosque.
I think it said in words, it's the second largest one in India.
Almost everything we saw was like from the 10th century, between the 10th and 14th century.
I found out they don't teach world history in schools because they're part of it. Not like here, we have 200 years worth of history. So they don't do world history. It is living. Everything they're doing is part of their history. So
And it's also practices, all of their traditions and the practices they are still experienced. So it's not, oh, let's go to Rome and learn about something that happened before, because they don't practice that way. In India, everyone's practicing exactly the ways they have always. Which is another way to really consider some of the, just the culture and the people, is that this is continuous. They're continually learning the way that all their generations before them. And that's kind of hard for a country that's 250 years old to appreciate. But we had to put clothes on, we take the shoes off. We also, this was a doctor on the tour who had very different colored hair and white skin. And we were often approached by children, especially children and maybe adolescents, who were like looking at us. I mean, very happy to see us, but just looking very intelligent. They have a lot of technology, they have a lot of televisions, but they've not physically seen a white person. And they wanted to be in pictures with you. They wanted to follow you around and see what you look like and what you were like. It was very interesting. And then at about, we heard the bells for prayer time, and saw, you know, one night, I mean, it's just this. And that has been. So we were staying in a pretty nice hotel, but just down the street, when we were going out each of the days that we stayed in New Valley, we passed that several times. We would pass homes like this. People are living in here. It's not. Well, it is falling apart, but people are living here. And the point that they were making in areas like this is that you need workers to support the beautiful places close by. So they will live with this site because they need the people to be able to come quickly and to be able to work and to support us. And so this is not unusual.
It's new in the neighborhood. I mean, it's not just all on one side of town. This is just down the street.
So again, it gives you that kind of perspective. And then we went to Disney, which is part. A lot of the places that we visited were World Heritage sites. And this was the Hindu temple that then we were with conflict and Muslim. Of course, I mean, this was so awesome.
Is that a bird up there?
Right?
Is it a bird up in the
To
corner?
bring that character. There's two of them.
It's sort of hard to see because it's an angle. We get the light.
Yeah.
I get the picture.
Oh, Claire.
Come back this way. You can see.
Yeah, we're Drusiana and see, like, we're getting some.
Oh, that's
we're
okay, I
getting
can
some
figure it
there.
out.
I can see that one of those lights. So I'm not sure there's any good seats.
They're very, very.
Right up here, that's what counts.
Yeah, we'll try to, that's all. So
Oh,
now I
nice.
still have my time.
She's about the same size as ours. Yeah,
I think so. It was hard to tell. That's where I.
Yep, that's better.
Yep, that's a good.
Thank
That's a
you.
palm squirrel. It looks more like a chipmunk, but it's a palm squirrel. Once you see, I have a picture later with its tail. Couldn't get one at first built. It has a really good tail.
And this is moving just a little bit more now into more of the center of the. And this piece right here is original.
It's called the Iron Pillar.
And it goes 400 feet down
What?
so that it can stay solid.
So what would be the equivalent, like 2 stories or 3 stories? I don't have any perception of
400
100
feet.
feet.
400 feet would be longer than a football field.
Oh,
There's 40 stories of a building.
wow.
And it's just kind of amazing that you can do this much with stone at a time before, I mean, they had
Yeah.
tires or wheels. Yeah, it's like, how would you?
The book has more history in it about this, so I don't know. Like what year, I don't know if I have the year that the Hindus built their temple and then when the Muslims came, in fact, it's still like 1000.
Mm.
It's a long time.
And there's a better picture of it. It's.
And then I do have pictures of signs, just so I don't forget what things are. So if we need to look one up, I can, if I'm sure.
So this is also a good advertisement for the next time we take our trip. Friend us on Facebook, so you can get the baby pictures that are
Oh,
all annotated. This is just, again, one of the sides of that. I don't know if I have that. So the reason I wanted to share this picture is that when the Hindu, or when the Muslims destroyed the temple, they didn't like blow it up and start over. They said, we conquered you. So we're leaving the foundation and we're building on top. So when you go by, you know, we did this to you. They also took all the faces of the animals that were on the Hindu walls and scratched them up. Yeah, took them out and really took you over. It's a very intentional, violent way to share that we come.
what's the date on that when Muslims overtook the Hindus, conquered the, I mean,
Well, no, but I-
7th century.
7th century?
You know, it's way back.
So,
I was just looking that up. for goodness sake.
so Islam was not that far along at that point, just a couple of hundred years or so.
And it was really helpful again to have a guide that he would, we'd be on a bus, and he'd talk for like an hour, sometimes 2 hours, and he'd just tell stories. Stories and stories, and I can't write fast enough. I wish I'd recorded it. Next time I may record something like that. So you just have the stories to listen to. Because you're getting more than just like a tour. You're getting all the history. This is another view of the first one. These are their beautiful gardens. Gorgeous.
I don't know if I'm supposed to do close-ups. The book has close-ups of the stone, the carved stone. It's just absolute
And intricate. This is a tomb that they were building that the builder died in the middle of it, so he left it. And they maintain it with the ladder. But
There's grass growing on top.
no one picked it up. They just left it there.
The tall one is Kutu Minar. This one is called Eileen. There. You further than that.
And then we went, this was really fascinating, for those of you who worked at food pantry and served food. This is a mosque that we went to, we had to cover our heads. Example. There's a whole lot, your mother says Sikh. And this is our guide. Some of us do.
We had to wear headscarves. I happened to bring one with me because I can do orange. So I wore my purple one.
And as we were coming in, this is like the
Community kitchen.
community kitchen that serves more than 8,000 people every 24 hours.
And they don't ask if
They don't care who you are.
you just come in and eat.
And you can, as you're going towards the entrance of this, you can give some food, you can give some money, you can give some support. And I expected this to be so overwhelmingly depressing to see how many people need food, how many people with support. I know what it's like in just a lives. And I walked away thinking, look at what people do when they come together. It's just amazing. So they have rows and rows, they have little pillows that they're sitting on, and someone brings them a tray. And they can have another tray if they want more. And they just get up and move, and there's music and prayers being typed in from another location. Not very far away.
So the workers are walking up and down these rows with buckets and labels. Do you want more of that? Do you want more of that? Do you want more? So they fill up their trays, and then when you're done, you get up and leave, and then one time they just fill the row back up again.
And these are the workers making the potty in the space, but they're making it and just turning it over or smell them amazing. The little bit of you pile it up, but look how much food they have. Now, this is before you the IDs. I don't know if they were getting some organization, but we saw lots and lots of food prepared and ready to be used. So it didn't look like the cupboard was bigger. And then attached to the community kitchen was the mosque. I'm sorry, see.
That's like the courtyard. There's the
Wow.
camera was.
And you can't take pictures inside, but what it was inside was a lot of velvet. A lot of red velvet actually and gold. And they do online creators 24 hours, 7 big songs. You know, just go over and over. We go through a little bit. But very calming, very soothing, just kind of music. And then yeah,
You saw the follow on. This, yeah, you don't want the word time. I think it's fines too.
but this is all intricately laid. While it is like the rock of the land that we're using, it's also frescoes inside. Of course, cattle, animals just run. Nobody hits them. Nobody hits them. They just go where they want.
Well, it's probably like, and yeah, the animals have it right away. In an animal there, it's really trouble.
And even though we were on a bus, we really understood. You just keep going, and you're honking horns and go, hey, I'm moving now, hey, I'm over here. You start to kind of have me. It was the most amazing experience ever. Just after sitting in all the rush hour traffic that we do, we just
Mayans tomb was the inspiration for it all. It's big. And then there's like one or two here people.
yeah, it's a big shoe for just 12 people. And then, oh yes, tell you about that.
This is my part. If you know me, you know I have a ton of Hard Rock shirts. Everywhere I go, I get a Hard Rock shirt. So that day in the morning, I was on my way to breakfast, and somebody else in my group named Ray was wearing his Hard Rock shirt from somewhere. And so we met and said Hard Rock, and he said, "We're going to the Hard Rock in Delhi tonight. You want to come with us?" And I said, "Sure." So after we got back to the hotel, she went and took a nap or a shower.
I went back to the shower with the dad, it was great.
And I went with this group from California. It wasn't a full group, it's just a small group. You can see us. So we went to the Hard Rock Cafe, which was itty bitty. And it had a few shirts. And luckily I needed a small because they didn't have big sizes. Not sure why, but they had a few shirts and they were only in small sizes. So I was able to get a shirt. Indian shirt. You'll see it. Yes, you'll see it later. And then on the way home, there was a wedding at our hotel. Imagine that. There were weddings everywhere. And it's a 3-day type celebration. I mean, huge. Because we saw them setting up our room. That we were in this wing, and there was another wing over here, and then the main part of the hotel was here that we could stop. So there's this big courtyard out here, and we could see them setting up. Okay, so when we came home, we couldn't get back because there's a parade in front of the hotel. That's part of it.
It's like jellyfish. What all
It's just, it's the lights. I have a picture up close, and I think in the book. But you know, there's people on horseback. There's
next people.
that's
There's the groom.
there's 3 people on
Not
there,
sure.
and I think the groom is the one you really can't see.
Yeah, I'm not sure, or maybe
That
that
one.
person. Yeah. We're not
Because we had, you know, we talked to Indian people, say, okay, explain this. And they said, well, I think the groom is the one over on the right that you really can't see.
kind of dressed up, not everything.
Yeah, so it's like, because we don't know what else going on. So there's huge parade. So we had trouble getting back. And then, yeah, there's the up close.
So people are walking and riding and just, and the guide was telling, like, the guide was telling us it's like $500,000. People spend
Easy.
I mean, we think it's crazy. We spend $26. Like this is, and you also get married not on a Saturday. You get married based on the way the planets align in your astrology. So it decides what you're going to get married, and if it's on Tuesday, you're guest in a hotel. This is that.
They even had fireworks. It was one massive celebration.
That was great.
She missed the whole thing. And then I don't sleep well, just as a rule. So every time I got up in the night, I took another picture. The reception was right outside our window.
What?
I went on maybe up on the 4th floor, but it was right there. So there's music and one night I didn't sleep because it sounded like it was out in the hallway. There were people running up and down and yelling and it's like, so, I didn't sleep much, so I kept taking pictures, so that's one of them. That's a good one.
And then by the next day, the next morning, it was all cleaned up and gone. Everything was gone down the street, everything. Which is another point of the people who work there, like you have. Workers have like a job to pick up the streamers and put them in a pile, and someone else comes in from the pile and puts them to the next, like. Like, I don't know, barrel or something to pick it up, and someone else comes in and takes it from the barrel to the drives it to the next location. It's like they scaffolded the work in such a way that everyone is something. And it was spotless. It was beautiful. I wouldn't have found one piece of streamer the next morning. Absolutely insane.
And I took that picture at 4 a.m.
Mm.
So it went on till at least 4 a.m.
So the next day we drove to Black Pond. And this is a picture of Fishman. From the bus. Oops. No,
It looks really big.
It is.
it's enormous.
huge.
Are we talking Statue of Liberty size or?
Cushion. Oh, could
We weren't that far away from Black Pond, but it was still rather, it was very nice. It might have all. It was very personal. And that's just along the freeway. No, it's.
No, it's on the way.
In the way.
We stopped at, like a plaza, we stopped to go to the restaurant. And also, we get a little something that I just thought was hilarious that they still call them Whoppers, but obviously there's no meat. Or no
That's-
pork.
It says
no beef.
Hindus don't eat beef because
Yeah.
Beef hamburgers would not be.
no,
Yeah.
and then they
No.
can't serve pork because the Muslims don't eat pork. So they serve chicken and paneer.
What is
It's a
cheese.
home,
Oh,
it's,
cheese.
yeah,
So it's a veggie burger basically. And there's another,
It's not a burger, it's
it's
a
a
Whopper.
Whopper, and then it says veg Whopper. It's a veggie burger.
So it's very interesting advertising, and it was everywhere. I thought they had another one in the
In the bush. Yeah,
So then we're getting ready to baby touch.
baby time.
But before you go in, the guy did a good job of telling us before we would go out to look at you, like, take this and take this.
He said, take your phone. Take your phone.
Just
That's it.
take your
Take
phone.
your phone.
Cause you can't take anything, and I guess they're also thinking, we did see wedding or engagement people there, like, it's not a picnic. Don't bring anything to eat, don't bring any toys, don't bring any explosives, that makes sense. Don't bring any flowers, like no cross contamination. Don't bring your free house sign. No drill, I mean, it was just over and over, it was a little, it's a lot. But it was gorgeous, look at how beautiful it is, and it's up against the river, which is on the other side. And it does kind of look like this little, let's say that's like it was, just look like that. And these, and in each four corners, there were one of these structures. And inside, so there's a picture from inside it when it goes there. So you get a little bit of the scale of it. We first took several sides. But inside, and remember, these don't have doors on them, they're tubes. So there's no doors, so these frescoes are centuries old. Which is just fascinating, but it could just be because we're almost brilliant, maybe it wasn't that, 13 inches. All through these two people. And I don't know if you can tell by looking at this angle, but the woman who's lower. We don't know those two is very, but it was all for these two. And then we just walk from room to room to room, but there's no doors to the outside, so it's open to the documents. They generally always have some kind of a garden area. And then later that day, we arrived at, which was very busy, mostly in tourists.
And then the sun came out. Like as soon as we got there, the sun came. It had been.
You had lots of benches to sit on, one of these is where we just Diana's back and took a picture of all of them. Spend a little time talking about.
There's my hard box shirt.
So I don't know, should we look at the shirt or the? You can't take pictures inside the Taj Mahal. But they each have, which must have been the custom, they each have 4.
Are we allowed to go inside the Taj Mahal?
Yes, you can absolutely go in.
Do you have to take your shoes off?
Yeah, shoes off. No. I don't remember.
I don't know, we
that.
took our shoes off quite a few places.
I don't
but
think
I don't know
here.
if this, that was.
I don't remember trying to find my shoes. We just thought that, like, this thing.
Taj Mahal isn't a temple, is it?
It's a tomb.
It's a
Tomb,
It's
I
a
know, so
tomb.
I mean, the holy ground.
There
she's
is a
off.
temple on to the left.
I see.
Yeah, we
From
went.
where you are right,
Yeah.
looking right now, it's off to the left.
Oh, thank you.
And the book has pictures of that. I don't know if you do here.
And there's a little reflecting pool over here. There's some places where you can be up a little taller. But it was all attuned for the ruler at the time, the legal ruler at the time, his favorite, right? His lots of lives. This was his favorite life. Anyway. Inside.
She blinks. I know.
It's a minute. I'm thinking right now.
It was a wonderful picture and then.
So then,
Maybe I can have you.
so and then again, the water, the river, not the Ganges.
You must, yeah, I'm gonna.
The river is behind it, and then the next day, we went to the other side of the river. And went through this nature walk and did a lovely sunrise yoga class. So you can see the Taj Mahal clearly there. It's across the river. And we enjoyed this incredibly physically fit man who kept saying, I do no exercise, feel my muscles. This is all I do, just yoga. It was a little cold. And only a few brave souls that got up at 5:30 to do this, but it was incredible. Just
There's the phone squirrel.
Yeah.
It looks more like a squirrel than you can see the tail.
and it was nice, I know it was 4 streets. It was nice to walk around and look at you with it. So you got to kind of see a little bit of the city. Lots of things. And some little
And it's actually.
Graffiti goat.
We rode electric cars to get there. Everything we rode had a different. I was so afraid. I had heard it during COVID that we could finally see the Taj Mahal because there was no
Yeah.
pollution went down because nobody was going anywhere. And so I was scared to death that when we got there, we wouldn't be able to see anything. And so I was so impressed that it was, the sun was out, it was shining, it was beautiful. This is what I expected. And this was the next day.
So this is probably 8 a.m. 8:30 a.m. So it's still kind of early, it's a little foggy.
It's, well, you can tell during the
And the river's down, a little bit lower. And the story is the mogul who built this for his favorite wife was then deposed by his son and put him in prison. But put him in prison to a place where he could at least look out the window and see the Taj Mahal. More months.
And I saw in the book that those are rhesus monkeys.
Some of them were.
Yes.
There's several different kinds. Langers, rhesus. Yeah.
Then we went shopping.
Yeah.
It is in custom.
Good for you.
So the art, the artistry of what in the Taj Mahal is also at this location, it's was building this thing. So these are all individual pieces of jewels.
Well, some of it's marble, but then there's all kinds of other, precious stones and things.
But they're placing one at a time, and it's the same artistry that they used to make the Taj Mahal and all those other ones. Here's Eileen's little base. Again, these are all individual pieces. So we got to watch someone sort of, and they're not.
Yeah, the men sitting on the floor, actually made doing. Do I have that picture? Right, be on my phone, yeah, it's gonna. But the people from California also couldn't get over the fact that everybody sat on the floor. They said,
Yeah.
can't they have a chair? And it's like, they sit on the floor. This is their lifestyle. They sit on the floor. They wouldn't know what to do with a chair. It's like, just sit on the floor. We saw somebody fixing shoes, sitting on the ground. These guys doing all of the marble inlays, sitting on the floor. They eat on the floor. I mean, that's just,
Yeah, our expectation is give them a chair. No, they can.
Now, how do they sit on the floor? Cross-legged?
Or on.
You're on your knees.
Do they all sit the
And
same?
they've got a cushion. It's a little bit.
On a cushion.
it's like they're used to sitting.
Absolutely.
I've never,
So then we got on the train and went to Raffles. So we put some pictures out and stuff. We were trying to.
The city was actually called Satellite Mataplo, so we have other names because that's the nature, that's Wendy and the Bushers. That's a lot. Yeah.
And then we went, oh, it's the most beautiful. I could have stayed there forever. It was just like, and they welcomed us again with miracles. And
That was the veranda outside our meeting.
wow.
Mm.
The roofs were incredible, like, so. And the lobby, it's all about the tigers. Sorry, pictures.
Oh, there's,
Oh, not that, yeah, there's my kids, that's what she, her my.
Mm.
And then the last slide.
Can I say something?
Yes,
I was just amazed at how the town hall was so perfectly white and this.
I know.
and it's not,
It's not.
it's not.
All those,
No.
all those fact intricate things just.
It's definitely not.
I have to ask you, did you see a snake charm?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
This is a tiger reserve, which is divided into 4 parts, and so you can go on tiger or like safari, going on safari.
They might divide it up so that not everybody's in.
And tigers are also solitary animals, so they don't want a lot of company. So you're in this open air view, looking at the most beautiful sunrise. This is again like 6 minutes. And the tigers also don't have chips. They don't chip anybody. Like, just let them live. I mean, if you see one, you see one, and you don't. Yeah.
When did it get dark at night? Because it's light at 6 in the morning.
I mean, this was November, so maybe they take them. So I know they had a few like social things for June. Definitely just the lightest. Yeah. We were really interested in what the animals look like. We were on the other side of the world. So do they like everything? Yes. And the deer look a little different, like the deers are a little different.
Them are deer.
Spots. look
Favorite
different.
food of tigers.
Oh. And then of course, we're feeding them.
That was the Eurasian grapevine. Oh, yeah. That was the lady next to me. She, California about peanuts, and so she was feeding the bird. Landed on her hand.
And that whole computer,
There are all kinds of things.
danger, don't feed the animals.
So there she goes.
Oh, shoot. And that. What are that? Oh, look at our fresh tiger. Moose. So with that, gee, it's gonna be a nice snow. So I was just no.
Look at that.
He found it, he saw. And people at the hotel are saying, you've lost.
Yeah.
You have people spend thousands of dollars and you see.
Never
I've never seen.
Well, I asked my guide, what's the percentage of trips out that see a tiger? And he said 30%. It's like, so this is a mixture of my pictures, Wendy's pictures, and her guide's pictures. But she was sitting in the front of the bus, I was sitting in the back. The guy was with we have it. There's two videos.
And everyone came from everywhere. It was like, oh, it wasn't really whistling. It was like, they come from tiger homes. We have come from where you are. I love this one because it's seven. I can see.
Where's the tiger?
In the middle.
Oh, my goodness.
Just, oh, I see, just to have more than little one. We asked the question, oh, dude, then. No, that's why.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, that was definitely obvious. That's not bad. That's a black-tailed mongoose.
Where's that video?
They're at, I think they're at the end. Okay.
May I ask a question? Did they? Some. Did they speak to you in English?
Yeah.
Because of the British, they speak, a lot of them speak English.
Yeah, we didn't really have translation issues.
Not to live, they're very racist. Underground, the overground.
We actually one day went by, when they were having a funeral, husband is Ukraine, and they were appreciating someone on the side of the road. And sadly, the guide had to come back and say, please don't take pictures of that. It's a funeral.
Yeah.
Don't take pictures.
That's a land increase.
Oh,
Peacocks, they're national bird.
The big, which is just going to couldn't be out. So we saw the tried doing the only way. They had set up 2 different times to go and they couldn't see the tiger, but we did. So not everybody left the second time. I hear it was over dropped. She's by Chad in front, I hope.
It was in the back, so I felt all of that.
That the picture outside.
See, there's, Wendy's in front of him. She's next to the driver, and I'm way in the back. Oh, another fun fact, I almost went blind and deaf on this trip. And when we were done with watching the tiger, the truck started moving. I was in the process of sitting down, because I was in the back, in anybody's way. A branch hit me in the face, tore my glasses off my face, dislodged my hearing aid. And I said, stop, my glasses are in the road. They're not allowed out of the truck to go get them because there's tigers nearby.
Right.
Oh, and you see what color my glasses are? They're the same color as the road. So I put my hearing aid back in because otherwise I would have been blind and deaf. So we had to wait at least a half an hour for the other trucks to all disperse, whatever. And then we went back out. We went back, and I said, I really think they fell in the middle of the road because there was a truck behind us, right there. So I said, I really think you can't see without glasses, but I really think they're in the middle of the road. So we went back, and then I told him again, they're the same color as the road. And he found them right in the middle of the road, no damage whatsoever.
They promised not to tell that I you're not supposed to be out.
There's 2 of them. This wasn't insurance.
mean, blends in. Really.
Wow.
And there's no reason for a tiger to come out. So they come out, say hi, you can do whatever they do. But obviously they can hear and see us. Also, as another aside, I found it fascinating and so many people wanted to watch through the phone. Long travel lens. And so after I took a couple of things, I like stop back and just watch the thing and put out. You know, don't forget people. But some people probably particularly looked and got some apparatus and
Ouch. And I think that day for the show. Must be in the building, it's just us.
so a custom on your way out of town is to buy grass. You know, leave animals. Yeah. So
Here's our best.
so you pay someone and then you come up here and then you go feed that animal. So let me tell you, the animals look pretty good. They don't all go to that, did that. They look pretty good. And then we stopped along the drive to Jaipur. And went through a small area, market area, no tourists, nobody's trying to like sell you something. Just really depressing. And we could see how people live and work.
It was nice not to be in tourist areas. Those 6 little boys, there are 6, the boy on the left has 2 heads. They followed us around, they didn't talk to us or anything, they just followed us. They were so cute.
How you doing? How you doing? Hi, how you doing?
Are they waiting for you to get their money?
No,
They were asking for money. They mostly wanted to look at us.
Hi, and then we get in line and they do it again. Hi, you want to touch us and see us? And they're just like amazed.
Will you the novelty?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just a stop on the road. They're not famous for anything, so I think white people don't stop there much.
Where they went. Well, for Americans, turning out.
Oh, no. Well, I don't think so. I think they were just so, how unusual.
They don't get visitors. But we were a very lonely co-op group. We were. We had lots of dinner.
This is an ancient water well, step well. So during the monsoon time, water would fill up. And you could step down and get it, and eventually bottom is connected to a well. So during the dry season, you go down and get your water. It's collecting whenever. I found that fun. And then it's been around for centuries. It's become desert areas, don't know. It works, I guess. But I don't know that I see them.
That's
Very cold.
it says couldn't. No, this is Shiva. Krishna was the good. It's
And then we stopped for lunch at this beautiful, what used to be. It's now a palace and there's like a bed and breakfast or what it's called. But it used to be the home of whoever was doing that. So after the English gave India law, they had to figure the royals had to do that. How they did it.
I'm gonna ask a quick another question.
Sure.
There's clots in the dining hall for each world.
World Central.
Yes, we're not there yet.
How many different centers? Right?
There's 5.
So this was Preston background, big block guy. What's the last
Look at
thing? I couldn't even catch the picture because he's on that.
He's close.
And then he goes back with a long
Churches.
This.
So here's a picture of how you could make it right. So there's what it looks like. You put the behind and it starts flat. And then another different block.
No different.
Wow.
And then you put it in the water to make it solid. And that's the
Wash it, rinse it, and that's what it looks like.
have to be like perfect.
What's the fabric? Silk, cotton? Probably cotton.
Then we watched rugs and which was again, absolutely amazing. Not all these are so expensive.
And my shirt.
It's so fast. They have groups of people who take the fabric yarn to their homes and work on it in Sunday there, and then they bring it back and before they're paid, they make sure there's some kind of thing. So they actually set it on fire, and anything that burns means that it was not using original materials, so you don't get paid for that one. But if they are okay and don't burn, and they shouldn't, then they get paid for it, and then the next person goes through and cuts the loops. So see how long he's cutting those ones. And then they shave them down so that they're all one soft. It just, I've never understood why bugs are so expensive and and they're worth every time that you can get for them. This was in the fall of 2025 when the tariffs were coming. So, they also offered to give us like paperwork so that we could take it back with a certain amount on and could either have it shipped back or take it back because their industry is very much. Which was really awful because I can't afford how beautiful they are. The show
This
color
is so neat.
we were just laying on top of each other. There were a few people who did purchase, but.
And that's on the road to dinner. No, I find us so good.
We stopped at this local restaurant. After our Dolly Road.
Yes, we had Bollywood dancing class. It was just 4 of us. Wendy and I are must have been the only ones who really signed up to do extra. We were probably the only 2 who wanted to do the extension. We were the only 2 who signed up to do the Bollywood class. And then 2 ladies that day decided to join us. So the 4 of us got to go out to dinner.
And they instructed us on everything we were eating, which is just so organized. And that's just words. It was a lot, and last, it's like an hour and a half. We thought. There's the snake. Now you get to see the snake charmer. So this was a very old. I remember that was 4th or 5th century.
Oh, yeah, it's old. And
That goes all the
in
way
our
around.
house.
And
There's a snake.
there's your snake charmer.
We did not go up there. I took a picture of trees.
I did not pay for touching. I feel bad for the snake, to be honest. But it was a palace. It was where the royal people who were there as well as trying to figure it out.
I have a question. Felt sorry for the snakes.
Yeah, it's like they're being abused, like, here, let me pet you, and I need money, then you can pet me.
Oh, I didn't know if they were being killed or.
No, I
Okay.
just think, it's
Have-
like,
have they
do
been-
the monkey kind of thing, like,
Yeah.
sorry for the monkey grinder and.
Have they been though, they've been I don't know what.
Probably defanged or something.
Yeah.
We also learned that this is the last generation that will have elephants like on display because it is incredibly cruel to the elephants to be walking on anything other than. It's very hard on the body, it's very hard on the feet. But unfortunately, it's a business, because like this is the only way with certain families, this is all they know how to do. So once the families die, maybe elephants too, like currently in this practice, they will no longer be allowed to do this. Tourist activity. So we did not invest in anything. Again, having someone who's from the country helps us know you shouldn't support this, you should support that. So we followed this guide. And this was an area that used to like select the armies, the military, they'd come in and get their orders and go out. Shooting soldiers.
Those
But
were the British.
again, it's so beautiful all along here. This is all moving. There's 4 distinct areas that you can tell them to come out of. And this is even worse.
Oh, God.
There were wedding pictures or engagement pictures going around here, several places.
And then these are areas now during the hot season. We were there in November and we were in that 80s. I don't think it ever got to Normandy, but it's warm. Where you would go to try to get out of the heat. Turkish bath. This is in
Oh, man.
all of the years. So before the years, it would be bringing all of the crystals and different reflective areas. There's a lot of
Mosaics made out of mirrors.
just
Lots of shiny. Lots of.
stained glass, which was really fascinating. Because I'm sure that this predates Europeans.
Interest.
About the little, you can quite tell sometimes what they're doing.
We couldn't get very close to them. They would have all the time. So you had to stick your hands through windows or something to try to.
If it was a bright enough day, you could get the backlight on you. And then, oh, that had happened. So much fun to get out and play and you throw it in there. So then you wonder, then you get lost down.
Why couldn't you get them?
They didn't know. You weren't allowed certain places. Another stuff at the top with the fort, it goes all over it all, and then
I took several pictures of all the wall. So
and another more processional way to get into the palace. And this is where they would live during the very hot summer months. It's right on rock. And then we went to a jewelry place, and this is where we have pictures of who's actually working, how they used to play. So using the stained jewels that they were always used to cut gems, to shape gems, to make rings. They indicated that they sell about 80% of what they make here goes to either Europe or the United States, like into Europe mostly. And their cut gems going to sellers. They do most of the gem. It's on dollar and so of course, we looked around, we bought these.
Let's see.
Anyways,
Oh,
teeny tiny big $100.
here, just, I just.
Yeah, you don't have to show me anything.
Here.
we come along the street.
And Jaipur is known as the cat city, so everything is of this kind of beagle hue. And the palace, this is now where the current Maharaja lives. In the city palace. And this is just he actually lives up here. But it's immense in the middle of the city. Yeah, this, and you have the flag out when he's in residence. Similar to the. And they have different doors again for the seats. All the church things. And they're decorated with certain types of. This is where he specifically enters his residence. And then this is where they would build water. It's a cistern. Water in and fill the cans you need. This is a gatehouse. I guess Jackie and Ash was that the guest house where visitors would come stay. We can find them there when they were still under English.
Yeah.
They would come here. And I love telling the story. These are two ivory elephants. So if you are if you're the royal family and you did not give birth to a son, you must pass it to a son. So you could grab a nephew or another person. You can just find another male heir, and then that becomes the Maharaja. Well, it happened in this family that they actually birthed the boy, and people were so overjoyed that they would get to be ivory elephants. And this is their coronation center. So Lord Mountbatten, if you're in India, unfortunately, Victoria was fascinated with India, but never actually traveled. So out of type four,
I definitely see the pink. It's not really pink. It's more salmon, but
but it's a definite color.
it was for Prince Albert that they painted it. And then they just kept it up. Too much.
And then the tour actually ended with someone's home. Who showed us what a home looks like in India. Beautiful. And then the group, not everyone, but most of them. And then we decided. And then some problem on the wall, she's too jumpy. We decided that we would go to a Girl Scout center. So it was harrowing, because they thought there was a bomb in my suitcase, so they wouldn't let me on the flights. And I couldn't, I said, this is my experience of how you disappear and no one ever knows what happens. They came and got me. And then,
Well, they came and got us because they didn't know
Yeah,
which
that's
one of
true.
us the suitcase belonged to.
and then found out it was mine. So she leave, they like, you go away.
With her boarding pass.
So, yeah, so TSA like has my boarding pass and my passport. I have nothing and I just walk away. I have a purse, I have a phone, I don't have anything.
And I have your carrying. I have everything.
I go to the basement of the airport. And no one's really talking to me, we're just going really fast. They open up my suitcase, they're in some kind of scanning area. They're like, point to, they keep telling me something. So I open it up, I'm like, what are you looking for? I didn't know what it was they wanted. And so I kept like taking things out and showing them, do you want this? Do you want this? What is it you want? I don't know what you want. And finally, they look often enough, and I'm still flustered because I don't know what they want. But everything got in, send it through some kind of security again. And then she grabs me by the hand and says, we have to get you a flight. I still don't know what they thought they saw. I think it was a tea kettle or like a teapot, but I still don't know what it was. But I have no way. I could have just been escorted out of the airport and no one would ever hear of it.
Oh, man.
So this is the picture of, oh my God, I can't believe we got on the flight. But we did.
And then everybody's getting on the plane. I am the last one not on the plane yet that was up there. And I have all my stuff and all her stuff. And I get up there, I said, I don't have my boarding pass. They took it with them when they came to get us. And so I said, I don't have a boarding pass. And they said, okay, no problem. They must have known who I was by that point. I don't know. And then finally, before they get me a new boarding pass, she and the other lady with our boarding passes shows up and we get on the plane. My goodness.
And
That was
They
harrowing.
held the plane for it. It was just very odd. We went at the airport for 2 hours. They drove us overnight in a cab for 5 hours to get to the airport. So I don't really know what was. Before we left Mumbai, there was an explosion at the Mumbai airport. So, I mean, there is a reason to be concerned. This is very.
We had to fly from Jaipur to New Delhi and then
Right. So we finally got there. Pune is beautiful.
look house.
We went to the Stagman World Center, which is Girl Scout Center. They just finished an event, so it was just like a little house for us. And absolutely beautiful, restful, so peaceful. I highly recommend doing something like this on the end of the trip. It was a troop that was meeting there on Sunday afternoon, so we stayed and hung out with them for a little bit. And these two ladies were from England and they were also staying with us.
And if you've seen the Aristocats, the geese, Abigail and Amelia, I think. Just like them. They were hysterical. Just the way they bickered between each other. So that was the
So we took some stickers and shared some Girl Scout stuff with them. And they have this beautiful topiary of them. Elephant, they have a pool, a little hot tub. And we just hung out there for like. Fast forward, we ended up not going into anything else. We just kind of walked by a few places and looked at them. We had dinner. Trying to, that's where we went to, we missed, that was our next day. Here's your flocks. So the Girl Scout centers, there's 5 of them throughout the world, and they have a flock for every. Which is, I know it's funny. And one of the options that we can do is have dinner with like a local family. So they taught us how to make chai. They taught us how to make chapati, the bread, how to roll it out, how to actually make it. And then we all had dinner tonight. I got some.
How is their bread different?
Pardon?
Does the bread have a different flavor or different
It's
consistency?
like none.
But even the naan, we had a lot of naan when we were in northern part of India, but when we got down to Pune, which is more southeastern, it was all of the chapati bread. And now I'm not really crazy about naan anymore. Now I really like chapati. It was less heavy, it wasn't as filling. It just had a lot more flavor to it. And all the food we had, we stayed in a lot of hotels where you know what it is when you pick it up and then you get to your seat and you're always going like that. But sometimes you don't, unless they're gonna give you a card to take with you. I don't know what I picked up. I just picked up a little bit of everything. But now I don't know which one is in the So a word to the wise to like go find out what it was. But there was mostly every meal that we had, there would be lots of vegetables, beans, lentils, and then rice and then bread. And that was pretty much all of it, and chicken. I was hungry for burger, but I got help. And these were the sisters that showed up, and they were just so wonderful. I think I'll stop there.
I lived with a lady from India when I was in public health school. She was from Delhi. And so I brought her to Columbus to visit, and my father was a butcher. And so, of course, she ate beef.
Well, now she knows what she was missing.
Well, she was very Americanized.
Well, I didn't think I would miss it. I really thought, oh, I'm gonna get into this nice, oh, I'm gonna be a vegetarian, I'll be really kind to the food. And I was so hungry for a burger, just don't eat a burger.
Well, she had her PhD in nutrition, and she studied vitamin A. And of course, I wanted to know what vitamin A was for. Well, evidently it's for the eyes, because in India they have some eye problems.
Oh,
and so
yes.
they want to make sure that nutritionally they can get some vitamin A for healthy reasons.
Absolutely. They're also working on kind of an obesity issue, like more exercise. We didn't show one day we went to a palm park, and it was very similar to us around here where you got like the area to go exercise, walking trail, because they're really focused on maybe people have gotten a little Americanized, their portions have gotten larger. So trying to like cut down on a little more exercise. But it was amazing.
But you have Old Delhi and New Delhi. Could you explain those?
Delhi is like the territories, so it's like the region, and then there's Old Delhi is the city, and New Delhi is the city. So there's something.
Old Delhi is older.
It's
Sometimes we found out, like in Amsterdam, that the old church is not much older than the new church or something. They have an old church and a new church, and there's not much age difference.
kind of geography,
Is
and
it?
how it is.
Is it like they have, is it really Delhi? An area where they had built up new buildings,
Not
right
necessarily.
next to where the old Delhi was.
Not necessarily. It's almost maybe think of it as more of a suburb. It's like grown out a little bit more of a suburb.
Yeah.
Because it's a million people. You don't put a million people in like tiny cities. Just but one of the issues, and when we showed the picture of like the dilapidated apartments where workers are living close by, the issue now is that young people don't want to tolerate 2-hour drive into their work. And there's not a lot of teleworking, even though we would think of that in like thought centers. People are still being told to go to work, and they're living so far away because they can't afford to live in the beautiful cities. And they're paying a fortune. Like they're paying $50,000. So insane.
So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I give some homework for next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next Sunday starts, gonna have a 3-week session. Thinking about migration, moving from one culture into another culture. Just imagine moving there and living there permanently after having started your life and acculturated here. Or vice versa, imagine them moving here. But that's what we've all done. Every single person in this church, in fact, everyone in America is the product of migration. Everyone, even Native Americans are no longer allowed to live on the original homeland where their people grew up. Everyone. So we're thinking about that for 3 weeks, migration, and we'll look at Bibles. Everybody in the Bibles. End to end, cover to cover. It's all about migration and also us. So here's the homework. Try to reconnect with your family's migration story. Not necessarily for next Sunday, but for one of the 3 Sundays. Like to hear stories.
Thank you.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.